Okay, so this is Instagram for Realtors. We're going to start with 10 reasons. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on this. You guys know this is, real self-evident, I think. 10 reasons why real estate agents, realtors, you guys should be using Instagram. So number one, it's a free form of advertising. Everyone's already familiar with it. Everybody and their uncle is on Instagram right now. It's really growing. Number two, it's visual. We love that for real estate because the curb appeal and it's so easy to show off things visually. Okay, very visual. This is a big one. You don't have to compete with Zillow, Realtor.com, or Julia. You know, I am a big proponent of going around these guys, of beating these guys. I'm not a big fan of paying through the nose to the Zillow and the Realtor.coms of the world. You know, that's kind of a mantra of mine. I'm always trying to teach our agents internally and you guys, the rest of you guys, all Miami Realtors, to generate your own leads and not have to have Zillow and Realtor.com get to the consumer first and then sell the lead, the attention back to you. Number four, great engagement. We love the engagement on Instagram. You can always see all the likes and comments to your post, like Facebook, but unlike Google or some other platforms or Zillow or something like that, you can see precisely who likes your comments and you can inbox them directly. You can DM them, they call it DM, direct message, and reach out to them directly through like a chat engagement type of thing. Facebook, same type of deal. Instagram is owned by Facebook, by the way. You guys know that, right? Instagram users tend to be young and affluent, okay? Instagram users tend to earn higher salaries than those on Facebook and Twitter. Twitter is also a very young demographic. So if you want to reach millennials, that's a great platform too. Twitter's also a great platform for SEO. Shout out to Kamal. And I always mention that. And it's also great for PR, for reaching journalists. Okay. Moving on, number six, you can rank quick, okay? Again, shout out to Kamal. Kamal, this is kind of an easy way, sort of a shortcut way to rank, and it's easier to learn than traditional SEO, which can be a lot. There's a lot of moving parts, right? Kamal and I were just talking about this the other day. So with Instagram search, with the right hashtags and the right content, you can rank pretty well and get some good organic reach. Okay, number seven, the more you post, the more engagement and traffic you'll score. Okay, thanks to the algorithms and the way that they work, the more that you post, the better you'll do. We have a few agents that do really well with Instagram in our brokerage. Will Bernal is one of them. Will, are you on? He gave me permission yesterday to give him a shout out and to give him a plug. And he told me yesterday, Will, I think I asked you permission, right? You said it was okay to say that you got a few.
Yeah, I'm here.
Now stop me if I'm saying something I shouldn't, but I think you gave me permission. I asked yesterday, but I wanted to use it as an example that he told me he got a couple of listings in the last month or two that he could track back to his Instagram. He's got a great Instagram, and if we have time, maybe we can look at his afterwards. Big Instagrammer there, Will Bernal. It's free event marketing. And Will, maybe this is one that you might want to think about too for yours, because you're building a great audience. We use it for event marketing to promote events like this one, actually, online events and offline events. It's really great, and it's free for your open houses, for your parties, for your meetups, for your, you guys, we all talked before about doing events where you put together a team and have like a home buyer seminar, stuff like that works really well. This is a great way to market it. Instagram is we love it as a real estate referral engine. It's great for referring, people see you and refer their network. You can hack, once you get an audience, you can hack a network of networks. You hack into other people's networks. Okay, Facebook works the same way. These social media, these circles of influence that people have that tend to overlap. And if you're doing it right over time, you can really kind of hack their social networks, and it works really well. So we like that. And number 10 is you can just look like a pro with very little experience. Okay, again, take a look at Will Bernal's Instagram feed. I think he would tell you he's not a professional photographer or a professional. He does have some marketing background, he told me, but all of you guys can really look really slick with this platform, with the filters and everything. You guys already know this, right? I'm gonna really jump to the thing I really want to talk about here, which is about the thing I always start with you guys. You know, I'm big on audience, right? What do I always say? ACD, start with your audience and work your way backwards, okay? So ACD, audience, content, distribution, ACD, right? For those of you that know me, I beat this home all the time. So let's start with who is your audience on Instagram. Okay, you want to start by identifying your audience. When you know the type of lead that you want to target, it will be easier to post content that you think they'll be interested in, of course, right? So for example, you wouldn't want to focus on creating content about beach homes if your ideal lead is someone interested in living in downtown. So I, I'm always encouraging guys to do this, right? Find your niche, find your smallest viable audience, I call it. It's got to be viable. It's got to be big enough that it's viable to do to get the income and the volume that you want. But if you focus on smallest viable audience, you will be able to create content for that audience that will be much more relevant and direct and impactful, and you're going to get much, much better results. Okay. So this is a common theme in all of the trainings that I do: audience, and then narrowing and focusing on that audience and niching. Okay. Um, Once you get your audience, you want to think about things like age, gender, income range, marital status, family dynamic. Do they have children? Do they have pets? Okay, to refine this further, see if your target demographic overlays with Instagram's target audience. Okay, so we already talked about the fact that Instagram is young and affluent, tends to be young and affluent. Um, so these stats might be a little bit old too. I'll bet this is even higher now, but over 30% of the population uses Instagram. I'll bet that's higher now. Somebody can call me on that, feel free. And over 80% of Instagram users are under the age of 34. This is changing too. More and more people my age are getting on Instagram. I don't want to say how old I am, but I am over the age of 34, yes. And my wife is laughing at me behind me here. But yes, Instagram is a very popular platform. So you got a ton of reach there. More than half of the millennials check their Instagram daily. Millennials are always on Instagram, right? We know that. So if you want to reach a young demographic, Instagram is a great place to be. Okay. But maybe you think that millennials aren't a great demographic to target because more than 32% of them live with their parents. But this study that I found finds that 90% of them want to own their home. Hell, they all probably want to own their home, right? 100% of them. But they're more willing to wait to find the one that fits their lifestyle. They're all about lifestyle when you're younger and single, right? There's another stat that I didn't work in here. If any of you guys know it, drop it in the chat and maybe we can call it out to people. That says something about the percentage of new home buyers that are going to be millennials in the next like 2 years or something. I can't remember the stat, but it's a crazy stat. You know, millennials are a great demographic to target is the point. Okay, so once you figure out who your ideal lead is, you got to figure out your ideal lead. You're sort of starting with your audience. You're molding your audience. You're picking your audience. Okay, then you'll be much more able to connect. Again, common theme with everything that I talk about, this ACD concept: audience, content, distribution. Start with your audience and work your way backwards. Then the content is able to connect. Okay. So, and you'll be able to connect with the right prospect, turn that audience into prospects, right? A percentage of those will be prospects. You got your audience, let's say 100 people, 1 out of those 100 will turn into a prospect. Okay, it's a numbers game. And you'll be able to connect with the right prospect at the right time too, because of the engagement idea of it. The fact that it's a very immediate platform. It's sort of between Facebook and Twitter in terms of its time frame and immediacy. Twitter is like bam, bam, bam up to the second. A common question I get is how many times should you post on Instagram. You guys ask my wife about that because she does it all the time, and she'll tell you that she posts when she's really clicking on all cylinders 3 times a day. She's got her times, and let her tell you in the chat. She tells you, but it's what she posts at midnight. She posts, I think, in the middle of the day, and then 5 o'clock, something like that. Ask her, and she'll tell you why and her thinking behind that. She's been doing that for a while with her fashion brand. Okay. Again, common concept. Once you know them, then you can make content for them. So I'm going to give you 8 groups, example groups that you can target on Instagram that are really good for Instagram. Okay. The first is local homeowners that are looking to sell. Okay. Local buyers that are looking to move across town, out of town buyers that are moving into your community, out of town realtors. This is one that I think not enough, in my experience working with you guys, with realtors, you guys don't think enough about connecting with other realtors. A lot of times you guys see other realtors as competitors more than partners, which I understand that too. But think about really connecting with these out-of-town realtors. So we just did a campaign recently for targeting realtors in New York, in Manhattan, that have people coming to them and want to buy property in Miami. If they do, we want them to refer us. So that's a great one. Past clients, of course, is a no-brainer. This should be a no-brainer way to connect with past clients. You should be following their Instagram. They should be following yours. And again, you can use Instagram to engage. It's not just a bullhorn or like a television show to create media and push content at people. It's also a way to engage with people, to talk to them and have discussions. You should definitely be doing that with your past clients. New clients, just people that don't know you. They didn't know, they found you on Instagram. And referral clients that were tagged. People, again, this idea of hacking into other people's social networks. You can run campaigns that or tag a friend campaigns. We've run those in the past and had great success with those, where you incentivize people to tag a friend. And that's a great way to hack into other people's networks. And of course, local residents who aren't in the market to buy or sell yet, but you are getting into their awareness now. You're getting into the top of mind awareness. Okay. So let's get into optimizing your Instagram business page. So the first thing you need to do is, if you don't already have a business account, then you need to set one up. And you need to set up a business account, not a personal account. So like Facebook, there's 2 different kinds of accounts. There's a personal account and there's a business account. And what I'm trying to tell you is you need to have a business account. So what you might want to do, and what I would suggest, is that you keep your personal account if you already have that. That's the one that you use to communicate with your friends and family, and it has all your personal stuff on it. Keep that, and let's start a new business account for you. And remember that you can sign up for Instagram using the same Facebook page that you use for your real estate business page on Facebook. So if you have a personal Instagram account, like I said, just keep it that way. Keep your personal account personal. Best practice, and I'm going to repeat some best practice stuff, but I'm going to make a caveat. Your real estate Instagram account should not usually be used for personal stuff, like pictures of your friends, you're on vacation, things like that. Your business Instagram account should be for total professionalism. Okay, that's the best practice thing that I told you. Now I'm going to tell you that there are exceptions to that rule. Some people might tell you that he posts lots of personal stuff on his and gets some great response in that. And that's because he's reminding people that he's a real estate agent. And Will, feel free to unmute yourself and jump in here. I'd love to bring you into the conversation. We had this conversation yesterday, and I asked him about being a guest host at some point, doing another one, to talk about the way that he does it. But I think he would tell you that that he uses his personal one and mixes business and personal, right? Right, Will?
Yeah, a little mix is good. Actually, I try to not flood my feed with just real estate stuff, because people know I'm a real estate agent, so it's not to be in their face 24/7 about it. but keep them in the loop. Once in a while, I'll put up properties. I'll use the stories to do that. But a good combination of a picture with your family or your kids if you have kids, because that's what really gets the engagement when they see the personal side of what you do besides real estate. And then obviously you throw in your properties, your listings. You put out that you're a realtor and that you're in the service industry to help families look for homes, help sell homes. So it's a good combination of both, but more importantly is just to stay active and engage with other people. Just posting pictures isn't going to do it. You have to know how to engage with other people on Instagram.
Now, Will, do you have I pulled this onto the screen here so you guys can see his feed. Do you have a personal page and a business page, or is this a business page,
So
or you're not sure?
that's my personal feed right there.
Okay.
That's my personal page, and then I have the Miami agent as well, which is
Ah,
strictly
okay.
real estate as well. That one I started last year, some point last year.
Here we go.
So that one I'm growing as well. Again, that one's gonna be more real estate, but once in a while, you put up a little picture of your kids or family as well. But that will be a little bit more business. Um, but yeah, so that
Okay.
one I did last year, and I'm growing that page as well now.
So you're growing this one, and notice we're going to talk in a minute about, and we can come back to this. I like the examples that he has here because he's got a good bio. We're going to talk a minute about building your bio. And he's got some good branding there. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And he's using hashtags. He's using hashtags in his bio. Can you give us any tips for that? I have that in my presentation. We're going to come to that, but I can really skip through it because you're providing a great example here, Will.
Yeah, hashtags are important. Everything on Instagram, the biggest thing is that it's like a search engine, right? So it's with the hashtags. What you're doing is you can people that are interested in certain hashtags will go to a hashtag, and if you're using the same hashtag, you'll get clients that are looking for property. If they're looking for realtors in Miami, they'll probably be looking up Miami realtors and stuff like that. So you'll pop up, and the more consistent you are, the more frequently you'll pop up in feeds in people's feeds. Because remember, it's all an algorithm. So if you're not active and you're not engaging, and you're not consistent, you're basically blind to the audience that you're trying to capture.
Now, how long have you had this? So the personal one is older, right? You've been doing the personal one for a while. 17,000 followers, guys. That's pretty good. That's actually, in our world, it's about quality, not quantity. So 17,000 is, and I always talk about smallest viable audience. So to me, 17,000 that is a mass market. I mean, that's a lot of people for your personal feed. But look at the number of posts he's done, over 3,000. How long have you had this? How many years have you had this, would you say, Will?
That one I've had for a while.
So 5 or 6 years,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, yeah. Well over 5 or 6 years. So it's a process. It's not, it's not. You're not going to get 10,000 followers overnight. Obviously, the more posts you put up and the more stories, and if you utilize IGTV, you'll get followers as long as you're consistent. But if you do it organically, you're not going to get 10,000 followers in 6 months. It's just not the way it works,
Now
unless
this,
if you go viral.
right. Now this one, Will, how long have you had this one? And again, guys, he's got two of them now. He's got his personal profile that he's got 17,000, but he's had it a long time. And he's been very, very consistent about posting, it looks like. And he posts
This one I
quality.
started last year. That one I started last year.
So only last year, he's already got over a couple of thousand followers. And I want to, at some point during this training, I want to bring in Floyce, my wife, to talk about what she does too, because she stumbled upon a few hacks that it really always comes down to content, right? And I talk about this all the time, but it always comes down to the basics, the three fundamentals: audience, content, and distribution. This is the distribution, okay? This is the platform that we're focusing on. So this really is the D in the ACD. And right now we're really talking with Will about the content and what he's been doing consistently, and that's how he built this thing up, and that's how he's continuing to build a separate one now just for real estate. So a couple of things, if you don't mind me asking here, Will. Can you give us any tips about building out your bio right here? Because this is something I got my presentation.
The bio is important because if people are scrolling through their Instagram feed, right, and they don't know who you are, you have one shot to kind of capture their attention with a bio. So you want to make sure that it stands out, that it's clean, and it's kind of direct, kind of like what you're doing with your life. Especially if it's real estate related. Obviously, being a realtor, the biggest thing is letting people know that you're a realtor, right? We're not trying to hide the fact that that's our profession.
Right.
We're trying to let everyone know, hey, I'm in real estate. I'm a realtor. I can help you buy or sell homes. Um, so you try to make sure that you put that in your bio as one of the first. You have different stacks. Try to put it up at the top so that way they see that right off the bat, so they know what they're about to look at is going to be, hey, this is going to be a realtor's page, so they're going to expect to see real estate stuff. Photos of homes, photos of waterfront properties, photos of interior design, really nice pictures of interior designs in homes, um, and let them know kind of like maybe what kind of real estate you're selling if you're selling in Kendall. So if you're marketing, like if you have a niche, it's good to put your niche there, because the person that's in West Palm Beach might not be looking for a home in Kendall.
There you go. Yep. There's that niche again. Yep. Um, and I like what he's talking about. We're going to get to a point in presentation where I talk about the bio, and I got you some tips for you guys, and bullet points and everything. But this is a real live example of it. And he talked about the stacks. He put a lot of thought, and I'm sure he would tell you, into how he stacked these up on top of each other. And he's got a lot. He says a lot with a little. He's got a call to action in here. You got one call to action, one link in your bio. That's it. So you got to use it carefully. And he's got it. He's got it here. You click on that. You go to his website, and he's actually got two. Where he was able to work in. Well, it's the handle for this that brings you back to what you're at here. Oh, you're cross pollinating that, aren't you? Does that go to your other one? I see what you did there.
Yeah.
This goes to your personal one. Okay, so
Yeah.
he actually snuck in a second call to action, which is a cross post to his other Instagram account. So you see what he did there. Great tip there. I like what you did there. And he worked in the hashtags. He worked in his niche. He worked in his brand. Okay, who he is, the brokerage, and buy, sell, invest. A command, right? A call to action says what he is and what he does. I'm going to jump back into my presentation, Will, but I'm going to bring you in if you can stick around, if you don't mind giving us a few more
Sure. I'm
tips
probably gonna
about.
be on the road, but I'll be tuning in, and I'll be able to hopefully come on if
Okay.
I need to.
Okay. Well, listen, do you have a couple of minutes to talk about tips on Instagram stories? I was going to bring you back because I was going to get into Instagram stories near the end.
Sure.
But if I got a few minutes for you, can you say a couple of words about that?
Sure. So stories is great because not what I like to try to do, as far as with my Instagram and my feed is I keep the gallery, right, which is the actual feed, what you were looking at now, those pictures, right.
Right here.
I
Yep.
try to I try to make sure that whatever goes on my feed, I'm a lot more pickier with what goes on the feed. You want to make sure it looks nice and clean, right. The stories is nice because it's more of your day to day, what you're doing throughout the day. So 9 a.m. breakfast with my son. My son's a character. People love seeing my son eat. So I make sure that people catch that, right? I get a lot of engagement from that, and that carries on to all my other posts later on with real estate stuff, because of that engagement. Whatever I post will get more views because I'm getting a lot of traction working the algorithm, right? So throughout the day, if I'm at a showing, if I'm at I'll show the property. I'll film the property that I'm at so people see what kind of home it is. I'll go through the house, do like a little property tour through my stories. And the nice thing about stories is every time you post up a story, you automatically go up to the front of your followers. So when you have a follower and you post up a story, when they go into Instagram, if you happen to do a very recent story, they'll see your icon at the top, and they'll know that you're there doing something recently, so they can look through your story, and then that could also take them to your actual profile as well if they want to look at your profile. So the more times that you post stories, the more chances you're going to be at the top of your audience all the time whenever they take a minute to go into Instagram. If they're on lunch break, they'll be at the top. If they're going to the restroom, you'll be at the top. That's the idea. So it's to always be relevant and always have traction where when people are hop on Instagram, you're there. If it's not a recent post on your feed, you're at the top of stories, and you'll get a lot of engagement that way. People remember it's an algorithm, so you're gonna get the views. If you do, once you get to 10,000 followers, there's a swipe up feature, so you can put links there, and people can swipe up. So you can put your website, swipe up, and that'll take people to your website. And if someone's shopping for a home and it's linked to your CRM, right? Like what Chime's doing right now, it's a great
Right.
way to get clients.
That's a great tip. So Will, you have 17,000 followers and the watermark is 10,000. If you have more than 10,000 followers, you get a swipe up.
Yep.
So you get to swipe up on your Instagram stories, don't you?
Right. Correct.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So did you guys catch that? There's only one problem with Instagram that people complain about or that we don't like as marketing people is that there's only one organic call to action to drive someone off of the platform and onto your landing page, right? Kamal, you and I were talking about landing pages the other day. This is a big deal about landing pages. It's hard to get people organically from Instagram to your landing page, right? You can pay to do that and drive people, but the only real call to action that drives them somewhere else is this right here, where he's got his, that's your, in your bio, you get one URL link. But since Will built an audience of over 10,000 followers right here, he gets to have lots of call to actions. Every time that he puts a story up, he can do a swipe up. Do you do it every time, do you think, or you mix it up, Will?
I mix it up. So,
Mix it up.
I'll try to do so. Sometimes it won't necessarily be to my website. Maybe it'll be a real estate article, right? Of the Miami market. And I'll say, hey, swipe up to read the article. And people like seeing what's going on with the market. So people will swipe up and it helps the algorithm, helps your engagement. So every time I see something that's Miami related that I think will catch the attention of my audience, I'll do a swipe up feature so that it'll take them to the article, take them to whatever it is.
Okay, so you guys got that, right? And by the way, he can't do that with this account, not yet. He's still building it. I'm going back to the other one here. You got him cross-linked, right? The Miami agent. So this one, he can't do that because he only has 2,000 followers. So here, he's building it up, and knowing Will, he'll get to 10,000 sooner than later, and then he'll get this free swipe up. So that's a motivation to build your audience too. So a couple other things. I have this all in my PowerPoint slide decks, but I'm just going to free form a little bit here, and since Will has to go. But he has some great examples here of what I was about to talk about. One of them is branding, color palette, selecting a color palette and going with a theme, and some visual branding. Will, you have the teal and pink that I know you use for your, watch this, here's his website. Let's give Will a plug for his website. And there you go. There's his teal and pink. So he's replicated that here. Great job with that. And what could you say about filters, Will, that you use for trying to create some visual consistency?
So that's going to be a little bit more difficult just because I do like photography and I shoot a lot of photography as well with my cameras.
Oh, you do?
It's not as much as I used to, just because have something called kids now. So it's been a little bit more hectic. But I used to really be into travel photography and shoot a lot of travel photography. So I would, go on Photoshop or Lightroom and kind of have my own edits and filters that I would kind of use throughout. But you can use certain filters once you kind of like have a style that you like. Everyone has a different style that they like. I like the brighter filters that are eye catching. But there's a lot of other ones that are softer. But if you stay consistent, when people go to your gallery, they'll see that consistency and it looks really nice. It's a good way to engage people. People will follow you just on that kind of consistency with your photographs. Right.
And I'm going to, in my presentation, I talked about professionalism and how it should look, have a certain look and branding to it. But I also was quick to give a caveat to that and say that, you know what, that's really changing. And if you follow Gary V and look at his Gary Vaynerchuk and you look at his Instagram, he does a lot of stuff like this. And I'm going to guess before I even clicked on it, I was going to say, I bet this was one of your better performing posts as far as engagement, right?
Yeah, it's
Stuff,
funny. People like
stuff
that.
like this, because it's funny. It's not too overly glossy, quote unquote professional. It's just fun. And I'll bet stuff like that or this, I've seen this one before. Maybe it was yours I saw. I stopped on this one when I saw it. I don't know if I saw it somewhere else. Did you make that, or did you get that from somewhere else?
That one I made, and then it kind of went other places as well.
You made that one?
Yeah, and then went viral. It kind of because I tag another guy that does really well, and then he spreads it out, and then people start copying it. They start editing,
Right, because I saw
properly.
that on somebody else copied you. So that one, that's an example of a viral one then, because that stopped me in my tracks when I was scrolling through. I love that. I thought it was hilarious. So um, I think that there's an opportunity to be creative here is the lesson. And you don't always have to, in my presentation, I'm going to tell you to be professional. And then in the next breath, I'm going to tell you, you don't have to be that professional. Don't worry about making it look so glossy and professional. Sometimes that works against you. And these more organic ones work great. Check out Gary V's Instagram feed and see the way he does it. And he does a lot of really kind of what we would call gonzo style, like this. Um, just stuff that's hacked together, but he really focuses on audience. That's the real lesson here is do something that you think your audience would find relevant, that they would enjoy, that they would be educated by, they would be entertained by, they would be inspired by. Right, Will?
Yep.
Um, I'm guessing Will knows his audience pretty well. Now, talk to us about engagement, Will. How often do you check the comments, go back and forth, DMing people on here? You
All
told
day,
me that you got
all day.
some direct business from that. Can you talk to that and inspire us a little bit about how this turned into deals at the closing table?
It's actually not difficult as long as you're consistent, right? Right now rates are low, so my angle lately has been really pushing how low interest rates are. They're historically low right now. So a lot of people that really aren't in real estate and they don't really follow the real estate trends and they're not in the day-to-day um, real estate conversations, right? The average Joe really doesn't know how low the rates are. So it's good to kind of remind people, hey, rates are historically low right now. And what I mean by that, you start giving them, numbers under 3%, or I just got a pre-approval for a client at 2.5%. So that catches people's attention. So then when I'm out showing a house, I'll show them, for example, a new construction deal, and I'll tell them what the scoop is on that. Sometimes they're paying for closing costs, or there's a contribution towards closing costs. So when people start seeing that there's deals and there's value on certain properties, that will get their attention. You'll get that person's attention versus if you just put up a picture of a home and say, okay, list price is 899,000, but that's it, and an address. If you're saying, okay, I can get you this type of deal with this kind of rate, and sellers are willing to contribute, and people start hearing deals, you'll get a lot more engagement, and that turns into showings, taking clients. People that were just following you become clients because you're starting to actually show them properties and send them to properties. And the idea is to not just show them a property and email them, but to get them to get out of their house and meet up with you at a property. That's where it starts.
Great advice there. And as I go through my presentation, this is a kind of an odd presentation because I'm going to go through a lot of quote unquote best practices. But this is a young platform. Things change, and I feel like there's a lot of room for breaking the rules that I'm going to give you now with this platform. Facebook is granddaddy. It's been around a while. We know what works and doesn't work. But Instagram, Snapchat, some of these other ones uh, what do you call TikTok is another one that I talk a lot about. These young platforms, people are breaking the rules with them, especially young people, and it's working. So don't be afraid to break the rules too. I think I'm gonna give you both. I'm gonna give you the best practices from a few years ago. This is an example of what you normally might tell you to post. Pretty glossy, beautiful pictures. But these other ones too, I noticed this one I liked. You didn't get a ton of engagement on this, but I like what you're doing here. You made what you talked about, showing them some numbers, showing them an infographic. And this kind of could open the door, I could see, to some discussion with people if anybody asks a question, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to jump back into my presentation here. What time do you have to leave us, Will, and get on the road?
I'm actually taking off right now.
Okay. Thank you for your time with that.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Great stuff there, Wilbur now. Optimizing. Okay. So you're going to want to optimize for a business. You're going to make a business account. Now, Will just finished telling you that he's got two of them. He's got a personal account, and that one has 17,000. He started a new one that's a business account. On that one, he has some things on it that he does not have on his personal account. And one of the big benefits to this that you're going to love is that you get these analytics in the back end. Okay. You get a valuable set of data to really hone in on your audience. You can get some great data like impressions, reach, profile visits. This is an example of the kind of things you can get in a business profile that you don't get in the personal profile, okay? So get that business profile going. If you don't already have one, get that started. You can use these insights to make sure that the audience you're attracting, you can match it up with the content that you're doing for your content strategy. I'm always talking about your content strategy. Make sure it fits with your target profile that you created for your ideal lead that we did back there. Okay. So you're going to also use this data, by the way, to figure out what days and times your followers are engaging with your content and most likely to be online. A common question I get is, what time should I post? You'll get different times that different experts will tell you, but it really should be driven by this, your analytics. So get that business account, you'll be able to get some historical data there, and you'll be able to get some valuable insights on stuff like that, okay? And that'll help you determine when to schedule future posts so that you can connect through DM, through engagement, through content, through comments, online with the right people at the right time, okay? So next up, we just talked about this. I'm gonna skip through this a lot, but we talked about building your Instagram bio. That's where you're going to make your first impression. It's also where you can engage and you get that call to action. So you want to make a short but killer bio. You do it in stacks. There's some good tips on integrating emojis in there too. I didn't put this in here, but get some emojis in there, and you'll see this in what Will did too. Include how you can help your target audience. Okay, really, what's in it for me? Answer that question. Okay, put yourself in their shoes, put yourself between their ears, and empathize with them, channel them, and imagine them saying to you, what's in it for me? Okay, answer that question in number one. Your niche, we talked a lot about that. Find your niche. Your location, your neighborhood, your farming area, your hyper-local. We talked in some past trainings about going hyper-local. You can put that in there. Your contact information, that's your call to action. And I like the tip that Will gave us, which is you want to put hashtags in there, of course. Those are clickable. And you want to put your cross post to your other Instagram account if you have one. So put a cross post to your personal account, and when you start that business account, make sure now go in your bio and put the @ with your handle for the new one. By the way, we skipped over this a little bit. I didn't make a slide for it. I just realized, but one of the first things you should do when you're making this new account is to figure out a good handle, which is the name for your Instagram account. Okay. Will's was what here? His was the Miami agent. Okay, that's his handle right there. You want to come up with a good handle, and that is really should tie into your brand, and that should match what you're calling your blog, your website. At Broker Nation, we have we use Chime, and Chime lets us. I create vanity URLs for all my agents, and which is the .com, so they can be. Will can be willbernal.com, and that is his Chime site. We just talked about this yesterday, Will and I. So it should all work together. All that branding should work together. So put some thought into that handle. Okay, going back to my presentation here. Okay, so that's number 5 there, and the link to that's your call to action, link to your real estate website or your blog. That's what Will did there, right there. That was perfect. So here's an example that I found. It's a little stale, but you get the idea. I'm Jane, I'm Will, and I help buyers find the best single family homes in X neighborhood. When you're ready to see why life's better in a home, call me. But I almost like Will's better, be a little more yourself. This was sort of a best practice one I found, but again, be creative. Here's an example that I found, someone, a KW agent, which leads me to the next thing, which is to add a bio, add a headshot in your bio. Get a great headshot. You want people to know who you are. I know some of you are very camera shy. I am myself. I've learned to get over it for a lot of these trainings I've been doing now for the last year and a half. But for 15 years, I'm used to being behind the camera. So you got to kind of get over yourself, and people know who you are, know what you look like. All your friends and family, it's no surprise. They know what you look like. Okay. You got to keep remembering that. But also new people, you build trust if you have a face that they can look at. It's hard to trust people that are afraid to show their face. Okay. So get a good headshot. That's really what this is about, this slide right here, and use the same one for your business card and for your website and for your company logo, the colors that he had, and the headshot from your business card should be the headshot on your or one from one very similar, and use it on your Instagram. Okay. You want to come across as friendly, knowledgeable, professional, connected, and memorable, right? So talking about branding, filters are a big one. This again is a best practice. They talk about sticking to a particular filter, picking one color palette if you can, a specific style to cement your branding. Again, don't be afraid to break that rule though, and check out Gary V's Instagram feed. Look up Gary V, V-E-E. His name is Vaynerchuk, but he calls himself Gary V. And see what he does. It's a bunch of stuff like the one that Will made. People love those. I love those. And Will just told you that his kind of went viral. So don't be afraid to break that rule. Here's another best practice one, Jade Mills, for example, luxury home market real estate agent. And when you scroll through her feed, you see a lot of these, what the best practice people would tell you are very professional looking photos. Everything about her is designed to imprint her image as a luxury real estate agent. She's an agent, I think, in Beverly Hills. And her images are all luxury, right? That looks like her and her family there just stepped out of a Gucci ad or a Vogue ad, or a Vogue magazine or something, right? I'm not going to play the video. Video doesn't play very well across these Zoom meetings, but her video, really the video is about presentation, about her personality is what I meant to say, presenting herself and her personality. She's bringing in her family. It looks like here, Will does that, brings in his family, really personalizes it and humanizes him. And she makes it about high living. I think this video had, her teenage son, and maybe helping to give some commentary in one of her listings. But this gives me an opportunity also to talk about video, okay? Video is a big deal. I'm very bullish on video as a content type. And we have been talking a lot about images, but we didn't talk enough about video. You can and totally should be leveraging video on Instagram. Now, if we get time, we can circle back and we can talk more about this, but ask questions about how to use video in the chat. And my wife, Floyce, will answer these questions. She's the one that taught me how to use video on Instagram because she was using it for her fashion brand. And she kills it. She just kills it with video, with engagement and everything. And what she does is she has a process whereby she puts it on the Instagram IGTV first, and then takes and rolls that. The first 60 seconds of that, you can set it up to roll onto your feed as a teaser. So she knows that the important stuff in the first 60 seconds needs to be like in the middle. The IGTV is really a vertical YouTube. It's in vertical format, and she gets a ton of engagement. Let's go back to Will. I think he also touched upon this idea of using IGTV. Let's see if he's got any IGTV here. How does IGTV work? I'm going to let, I'm going to circle back to that. And in the meantime, I'm going to let my wife answer that question via the chat room. Please make that public so everybody can see. But real quick, I'll go over it. The way IGTV works, it works a lot like YouTube, only vertical. Okay, here's Will's. I'm not going to play this because I found from experience that video doesn't play very well across Zoom. But this is some videos that he made. The limit, I think, is what, 12 minutes, baby? 12 minutes for 12 to 13 minutes max, which is more than you need. And it should be at least 60 seconds though. So don't make it less than 60 seconds because then that first 60 seconds rolls over to your Instagram feed, okay? But it really is Instagram or Facebook. Facebook owns Instagram. It's Facebook's way of competing with YouTube. So think of it like a vertical YouTube. You get a chance to tell your story with video in a vertical format, which works great because it's mobile first, right? This is all about watching this on your phone. This is designed, Instagram is designed as an app first, not a desktop. This is not a desktop thing. This is an app that's designed to be carried with you in your pocket and reach people in the palm of their hand, okay? So you got to think about it that way. So what videos would you make that would engage with people in the palm of their hand if you had a chance to talk to them for up to 12 to 13 minutes and have this show up in IGTV, in the feed, which is here, and in the stories, which are here. Okay. I'm going to stop that because that video doesn't usually play very well across, but you get the idea. So video, very powerful, and 3 chances to use it. Use it in the Instagram stories, use it in IGTV, which is right here, and use it in the posts, which are right here. Now, what I'll do a lot, what I love to do is make these short 60-second or less teasers too that are square. They're designed to be square. So I'll actually make the video square and stick it in here. And you can see that on our, you can see I got a ton of those on our Instagram feed at Broker Nation, this one right here. Okay, and you'll see like this one right here that I do. I do these. I'm not going to torture you with that because these don't play very well on Zoom, but you see those little short videos, almost like, I don't want to say commercials because I use it more for storytelling and for teasers. They make for great teasers, okay? So video, real important to be thinking about video for your Instagram. Okay, let's move on. So let's talk about a recap of where we did so far. So we talked about goals, which is really who you're trying to reach, your target audience. Who are we going after here? That's our perfect lead, our quote unquote hashtag perfect lead, right? We talked about optimizing your Instagram page for business, getting that Facebook business page instead of your personal page. By the way, you can convert a personal page into a business page. So you got a choice between taking the page you already have. Maybe you got a ton of traffic on there and you got some good traction. Yes, you can take that and convert that into a an Instagram business page and get all of those analytics and everything and go professional, get the business version of it. Or we talked about the idea of keeping your personal page separate, like Will did, and then starting a completely new business page and building that up for business, and kind of keep and then cross-posting between the two. Okay, great strategy. We talked about creating a kick-ass bio. We had a couple of examples of how to do that, the best practice way, with some bullet points on how to do that, and then the more fun, organic way that Will did. If you have any more questions about making a bio, there's lots of tips that Floyce can give you too in the chat. A couple of tips on that. Put some emojis in there. That always draws attention. You definitely want your call to action, and make it niche, make it specifically speaking to your audience. Always think of your audience first. And we talked about putting a headshot up there. That's a no-brainer, right? Put a good headshot up there so they know who you are if you're a real estate agent. Of course, you could put a picture of, if you're shy, put a picture of something else like your logo in there. But if you're a real estate agent, you kind of want people to know who you are, especially people that don't know you. So you want to build trust that way. So try really hard to get over yourself and put a headshot up there. And we talked about branding, the visual branding of it, the color palette, using the filters. It helps if you can kind of consistently use filters, because over time, the same filters, I should say, because over time that grid is going to start filling up and looking like something that is cohesive. And when they go to your website and your Facebook page and everything starts looking the same, there's this feeling that it all kind of works together. Think about McDonald's, right? What do you think? When I said the word McDonald's just now, what did you think of? You thought of red and yellow, didn't you? Okay, there you go. Okay, now another question that everybody always asks. Let's talk about how to grow it. Okay, we had a little bit of a free form discussion with Will, and I think he is going to be in his car. Maybe he can join us at the end of this, or we can bring in Floyce to talk about how she does it. I can talk about how we do it for Broker Nation, and if anybody else has some suggestions, we can open it up to the floor at the end. But I'm going to go through some best practices here for you guys. Okay, so we're going to be using Instagram to encourage visitors and followers to head over to your website and fill out a contact form, right? So landing page. We talked about in our Ultimate Agent 101 foundation cheat sheet, we talk about using Linktree. This is where Linktree, by the way, is really effective. Linktree works like a cable splitter almost, where you only get one link in that bio. But if you can put a Linktree link in there, you can fork it off to 4, 5, 6, 10, 20, whatever, however many you want, different landing pages. So landing pages are a big, big deal. Shout out to Kamal. Landing pages are very important to build these landing pages and then drive traffic to them. And you can do that through Instagram is a great way to do that. Okay, so the trick is to get your post seen and engaged with, and it all depends on how well your photos and texts and video, I didn't put video in here, but video, how well your content appeals to your target user's interest. This really taps into the same kind of theme that I always kind of just keep beating this drum about, starting with the audience and working your way backwards, right? So like we talked about your real estate blog, your website, having different categories, having a content pillars, having pillar content. Now this is where I'm going to diverge a little bit and talk about the content strategy that I recommend, which is a 4-pillar content strategy. Do you guys remember that? If anybody didn't participate in that, raise your hand or give me a shout out in the chat. But I use a 4-pillar content strategy for the agents in our brokerage that I try to get everybody to do. And those categories are basically break down to, number 1, numbers. Do reports and numbers like Will was talking about, number-oriented data and things like that. Number 2, community. That speaks for itself, right? Number 3 is listings, and number 4 is more the personal branding stuff and the organic content, behind the scenes stuff, things like that. Okay, so you got to put them into buckets, and then the real idea is to make a content calendar for this. So this is just showing here, for example, if you want a Florida vacation home, you know, show pictures of, once you understand these content pillars and how you're going to break this down, then it helps you create your content, okay? Again, if your niche happens to be investment bankers and CEOs and executives, you want to focus on posts that talk about amenities. So again, the same idea about focus, starting with your audience first and then creating content for that audience. Got to think that way, and then everything else sort of falls into place. Okay, so a couple of best practices here. Think about the square layout of Instagram and make pictures that are square. You can take pictures with your phone. Now all the phones have a way to do that, to take square pictures, or you can take pictures from within the app. I don't know how many of you take pictures within the app, or me, I like to take my own pictures so that I can kind of work them through the other apps that I use and then crop them or put text on them or do or filters or color correct it accordingly. So try to harmonize the color theme. Think about that color scheme, the color palette that we talked about. Think about aligning it with your brand's image, and you definitely want to put listings up here. This, I don't think I even need to tell you guys. If anything, I need to tell you not to overdo the listings, but definitely put listings up there that you're proud of. And I'm always trying to get our agents to think in terms of putting a twist on what everybody else does. Don't do what everybody else does. In marketing, we talk about the purple cow. You guys heard about this? The purple cow. If you're driving 60 miles an hour down the road, a backcountry road, and you turn to your side and you see a whole herd of cow and one of them's purple, what are you going to do? You're probably going to stop and take a picture of it, right? Make content that is different. Make it remarkable. Make it stand out, okay? So standing out is important. Make stuff that is, see if you can be, this is where you put on your creative hat and put a little twist on what everybody else is doing, your twist if you can, okay? Okay, let's talk about hashtags. We talked about this a little bit with Will. Hashtags should be, this is the picking up from the last one. Hashtags are used to get more likes. Okay, they're used for the search engines. They're used to get more audience. They're used to get more reach. Is really what they're used for, and for sharing. So I want to give you a few popular hashtags that you could use here. I think I got my slides a little bit mixed up. So okay, popular hashtags. Hashtag your neighborhood. Your area. Connect with users using the hashtag for that. Okay, El Portal, hashtag El Portal, hashtag North Miami, hashtag Bal Harbor. Broad hashtags like real estate agent, realtor. This kind of it can be broad, but real estate related hashtags let people know that you're in the real estate game. And it brings audience from that. So you want to mix these hashtags up with some of these. This is a popular hashtag, new listings, just listed, just sold. You guys know how to do the hashtags. If you type it in, it's hard to show on the desktop, but on the phone, if you start typing a hashtag in, it'll give suggestions. It'll start popping up a list of suggestions that you can scroll down and then pick. And the ones at the top are the ones that are the most, the ones that are trending. Okay, so you want to find trending hashtags. And the trick here, this is just showing you that arrow right here, that new listing is showing you where they put the hashtags in. Some more hashtags, use the home style like bungalow, beachfront, Victorian. We don't have that in South Florida, but condo, single family home, things like that you could use to attract buyers for a specific style of house. Or you could use open house hunting for specific types of events, or people are always flipping through, you know, certain kinds of specific properties that they're looking for. Okay, and this is showing an example here. His hashtag: swimming pool, villa, $1 million views, stuff like that. DIY, curb appeal, updated charm, before and afters. Okay. want to pause here to say a word about hashtags. You want to mix up your hashtags. You want to make a list of hashtags that you keep in a notepad or a spreadsheet somewhere that you can reuse, but you don't want to use the same block of hashtags every time. You want to mix it up. So what like professional Instagram influencers do to build their audience is they have a spreadsheet. And by the way, 30 hashtags, use all 30 if you can, okay? I've heard some people say that don't use too many. I've been hearing that lately, so you can experiment with that. I like to use 20 to 30 hashtags. I like to fill it up with the hashtags because every hashtag is an opportunity for more reach, and somebody that's using that hashtag, searching by that hashtag, or I can be discovered by that hashtag. That's another opportunity to be discovered. So use the hashtags that are both broad and specific and match them up, or mix them up rather. So I'll give you an example of a broad hashtag. Hashtag real estate. That's a broad hashtag that you're going to get lost really quick and get pushed down to the bottom. These hashtags work by the immediacy of it. So you want to post the hashtags in your very first posts, okay? Some people, I've seen some gurus are telling you to post it in a comment. But I think they usually tell you that if you want to post in a follow-up comment instead of putting it in the initial text post, then make sure you post it like in the first 60 seconds or 2 minutes or something like that, because you want to get seen right away when people are scrolling through and show up in that and be discovered, the discovery tab, and you want to show up in the mix of all these other hashtags. If it's a broad hashtag, my point is that you're going to get pushed down in that mix. If it's a very narrow hashtag that doesn't have a lot of competition, there's not a lot of eyeballs on it, but there's also not a lot of competition, you're going to sit there for a long time and get a lot more exposure in that hashtag, okay? So you're going to mix up a combination of broad hashtags and specific hashtags and medium style hashtags. You're going to look for hashtags that are trending, and you're going to use some of these ideas for hashtags, like using your hyperlocal area, your style of house, your style of properties that people are even looking for, flips, investment starter homes, $1 million homes, open house events, things like that. And you're going to put them right here. Right here. You see where? Now, here's what I like to do, and these guys did it too. Okay, let me see. When you make a post and you're posting hashtags, you put hashtags in your bio too, by the way, but you're limited to the number of characters. I think this is his bio. But when you do a post, put some text in there, and I'm going to go ahead and encourage you to put some. I tell a story with picture. Excuse me. This is a picture. Tell a story with pictures, but tell a story with the text too. Okay, that text is going to get picked up by search engines. Shout out to Kamal. Okay, I think Kamal, who is an SEO expert, would tell you that SEO, search engine optimization, search engines love social now. That's on the rise as a signal. They call it a signal for search engines to find you and rank you. You want to tell the search engines, as well as telling your audience, what this post is about. So this is a long way of me telling you to write some text here. Don't short shrift the words right here. Then you want to put a little dash or a dot. I like to put a dot here, a period, to push it down, because sometimes the spacing gets kind of wonky. So if you put a period here on the next line, you guarantee that it puts like a carriage return on a typewriter, forces it to the next line, puts a little space in there. And then I put, here they put, you want to tag people, of course, in here. And here you're going to put all your hashtags, okay? I like to put 28, 29, 30 hashtags in here. Got to be really careful counting them, because if you go 31, it won't post. Okay, so make sure you stay under that 30, and put your hashtags here, and you can line them up. Sometimes you can put them all in one big block. Sometimes you can even make them look pretty. But this can be time consuming. So you want to do your hashtag research ahead of time and maybe stick them in a different spreadsheet. That's what I do. so that you can just copy and paste them or put them in an email or somewhere on your phone that you can grab them quick and then paste, slam them right in there, okay? And if you can, again, a good tip is to get a block of these. Get like 4, over time you'll build 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 different blocks of these, and then mix them up. Don't use the same ones over and over and over and over, okay? Tags is another one. Make sure you tag people in the picture. Tag people in your network, tag people that are in the picture, definitely, and they'll see it, and then they'll go and tag other people. That's a great way to hack other people's networks, okay? Any questions about hashtags or tagging other accounts or other people in your posts, drop it in the chat, and Floyce will be happy to talk to you. She's got lots of good tips about that. Okay. I want to move on to the next thing I want to talk about, which is the funnel, planning the funnel, okay? In some of my past trainings, you've heard me talk about the funnel, and if you guys need a refresher on that, I have recordings, or if we have time and you guys are still interested, I have some slides. We can go back and revisit that. But if you have a sales funnel, sales and marketing funnel for all of your leads, and Instagram is no different, you should plan out that funnel, and you should be able to attract an audience at different stages of the funnel. The 3 basic stages of the funnel, if you boil it down to its very, very most basic, is again the ACD acronym that I use. The top of the funnel is just getting attention. That's the broad, fat part of the funnel. You're trying to get attention or awareness. The second part of the funnel is the C is consideration. ACD is consideration. You're getting people to, okay, you got their attention. Now you're getting them to do something serious with that. You know, move them closer to the third one, which is the decision, ACD. Awareness or attention, consideration, decision. Okay, so you should be thinking about that when you make your content. That's my point here. Think about your audience, think about where they are in the funnel, and make different kinds of content for different stages of that funnel. Okay, so I got a couple of tips here, but before we go back to that, let me just, I didn't make a slide for this, but I just want to give you an example of some different types of content for that. So you can, for the top of the funnel, for example, you might do contests and giveaways. That's a great one, okay? So you could create content about, hey, audience, hey peeps, I need help decorating my house. What should I put in that empty space against the wall to the left? I don't necessarily need more storage, so I'm looking for creative ideas. I'll choose the winner from both Instagram and Facebook, and you'll get a Starbucks card for helping out, okay? Incentivizing a contest of some kind. And it's super easy. You can do it with gift cards or something that you think your audience would like or love. I mean, if you did it once a year or something, you could even do, or once a quarter, you might even want to give away an iPad or something like that. That's a great way to get, okay, so contests and giveaways work great. Okay, so what else? Of course, inspirational quotes, bonus points if these words, if you can make like Instagram posts, you've seen these with the quotes over the images, some of your images, and you can tie some quotes to a picture. And the idea is that this is something that inspires or creates an emotional connection with your audience. If it doesn't make an emotional connection with your audience, don't just post quotes just to post quotes. I'm not a big fan of the quote thing myself, actually. But some people do it really well. Middle of the funnel might be more things like sharing some things that you're doing with listings that you have now already. So this is where you're starting to reel them in. So Instagram stories are great for this. Okay, give them behind the scene looks at open houses. Give them an idea of some properties that haven't hit the MLS. Give them a little Instagram stories, remember, go off after 24 hours. So you could put your pocket listings on there, or pocket listings of some that you have in your brokerage. Give them some inside scoop on something, something that they feel like they're getting an exclusive on. That stuff works great. And then bottom of the funnel content stuff is stuff like testimonials, stuff like why it's a great idea to do business with you. If you can get some video testimonials or text testimonials from people or pictures of some closings that you've done, mix those in. So be thinking about those 3 stages of the funnel, okay? Top of the funnel, they don't know you. You're just trying to attract attention with contests and stuff like that. Middle of the funnel, you're reeling them in with behind the scenes content. And then bottom of the funnel, tends to be more testimonial type stuff. Give them stuff that gives them a reason to do business with you, okay? Where you're kind of giving them the good stuff about closing the deal, okay? Doesn't have to be all business stuff too, but it could be some stats about your success, photos from homes you just sold, success stories, before and after pictures of what some of your clients did with remodels. That might be more the behind the scenes type stuff though, come to think of it. Okay, so any questions about that, that funnel concept, the idea of creating content for 3 stages of your funnel? Top, middle, and bottom of the funnel, we call it, or ACD. Awareness, consideration, and decision. Drop those questions into the chat, okay? I'm gonna move on. Okay. Tips. Let's talk about some tips. Some of these we already talked about, so I'm just going to revisit a few of them that I have in my slide deck here. We talked about video. That would be my tip number 1, actually, even before the carousel, is really the video. The biggest tip I can give you is to use video on Instagram. And the biggest tip of all is the one my wife gave me, which is this tip of doing an IGTV video, vertical, but with the good stuff right in the middle square, the middle part of it, and then making it just over 60 seconds. Even if you make it 62 seconds, you can put it on Instagram, IGTV. IGTV is Instagram TV, IGTV, and put it on there. And then there's a little setting, just one check, and you can make it roll over to a teaser that shows up on your Instagram grid. If that isn't clear, or you have any questions about that, drop a message in the chat. Floyce will be happy to give you some examples and show you, or I can show you, if we have time at the end of this, some real world examples of that. Okay, but let's move on. Instagram carousel, make sure you use the carousel, okay? Instagram, use the Instagram carousel ad too. So we didn't talk about this yet. We've been talking about it organically, but you can use paid advertising to really throw gas on the fire with this and really reach your audience without having to do the hard work to build up the 17,000 followers like Will did. If you want to reach 17,000 followers, you could in an hour right here by just dropping, I don't know, $5-10 a day onto your Instagram. You can do it through your Facebook Ads Manager and pay for it. And it's cheap. It's not that much. Instagram is still a pretty good media buy. It's not quite as expensive as some other media buys that are a little older and more competition. These media buys, by the way, we talked about this in the past. They are a supply and demand thing that's going on here. There's only so much real estate on that feed for that audience, and it's a bid type system, and it's also a supply and demand system. So Instagram is still a good media buy. IGTV is a great media buy. Great media buy, okay? Stories are a great media buy. So think about and consider putting even a little bit of money, $5-10 a day for 2 weeks onto getting some attention and getting into the Instagram feed, into the IGTV and the Instagram story of your audience. Once you know that audience, you really know what to do, right? Okay. So yeah, this is just saying some more tips about Instagram carousels. You could do, it's great for listings, right? Because you could do multiple pictures and walk them through a listing, walk around community, do a deeper dive. This goes double or triple for video, by the way. Each card can have a unique image or URL or description. When you do it that way, this is for ads. This is paid ads that we're talking about here. Here I'm giving you some tips about geo-targeting. We've talked about this in the past, which is, this is paid, by the way. This is still paid. This is not organic. So if you're looking to do this and you're going to ask, Steve, where do I find this in Instagram? The answer is you don't. This is in the the Facebook Ads Manager. If this looks familiar, we've done this in some of last couple of weeks in our trainings. Okay, and you can use detailed targeting too to do that. We talked about that in some of the other ones. I am nearing my time, so I'm going to wrap this up. And I'm going to start by wrapping it up with some best practice stuff, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some things some tips that I want to give you of what we do, my wife and I in our marketing company, and what we do for real estate, and also what we do. She does a ton of Instagram content with some really good success. Will does some great content and has some success. Maybe we can get him back on the line and take questions and open up the floor. But let me just start by wrapping it up with some best practices here, okay? So we started by creating an Instagram business account for your real estate company, okay? Make sure you have a business account, guys. So make sure you separate the personal account from the business account. So either convert your personal account to a business account today and get all those extra bonus stuff that you get with the analytics and the insights, or create a whole new one and then do what Will does and cross-post the two, okay? We talked about spending time, do the time and the effort and the homework to determine your audience and figure out who your ideal prospect is, your ideal lead, and who your brand is, who you are. We talked about this all the time in my past trainings. Figure out your audience and figure out who you are to your audience. Who do you want to be to your audience? Do you want to be the tennis realtor of Miami? Shout out to Rob. Do you want to be the boating specialist for high-end luxury waterfront property in the North Barrier Islands, Bal Harbor and Bay Harbor Islands and Aventura and things like that? I mean, figure out who you want to be, and that's going to be driven by who your audience is. I can't say enough about that. Come up with a set of goals and make a content calendar. We talked about making a content calendar with those 4 weeks of the month and making a theme for each week. Reminder, those content pillar themes, one for each week of the month on your content calendar are week number 1, numbers, week number 2, community, week number 3, listings, and week number 4 is personal brand stuff and behind the scenes stuff, more organic stuff, more fun stuff. Left brain, is that the right side? That side of the brain that is not analytical. And then the following week, you go back to the other side of the brain, which is analytical with the numbers. You see how that works. Okay, so when you have an idea for what your followers are looking for, you should waste no more time. When you think about your audience and work your way backwards from that, the ideas flow. And you don't have to sit around wringing your hands about what you should be posting. You'll know if you're always thinking about your audience and trying to get between their ears. Okay, so I think, why am I not? Okay, oops, I got hung up there for a minute. Then we talked about creating your lead generating carousel ads. That was really running through the fact that if you want to put a little bit of money behind it, you can use carousel ads to really make a different ad on each one of the carousels is kind of the idea there. Different headline, different subhead, different text, and they swipe through it. People love swiping through those. So use the carousel ad, but I didn't make a slide for it, but even that goes double for making video ads, making organic video, but also experiment with putting a little bit of money behind getting a bigger audience for those videos and watch what happens. It's you're going to be surprised. Video is very engaging. People love engaging with video, especially if you The thing that stops most of you from doing video is you think that you're not Steven Spielberg. Number one, you get scared about the production value of it. You think it needs to be overly produced. It doesn't. It can be very simple and organic, and do it with your phone. And the number two reason I find from working with you guys with video is that you're scared to death to be on camera, which I totally get that. I am too. Or at least I was until the last year and a half. I'm not on camera right now, but usually I am every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm just at a different computer here. This one doesn't have a camera. But get over that fear and try to, if you can't get on camera, start out by holding the camera, use the other side of the, point the camera the other way and do some walking tours, to walk through your listings, walk through your community, do some screen captures of, you could even point the phone at your screen and commentate on some MLS listings, like right out of the MLS or right on your website. Commentate, show me some listings on your website and use it to drive traffic to your website. Okay, video, can't say enough about it. And then run Instagram ads, right? That's really what that's saying. So follow these tips in your real estate agency. Will be booked with showings. Will is sort of the example that I would use for that. He got some direct business that I think he would tell you that he could track back to his efforts that he does with his Instagram. He's sort of our Instagram guy in our brokerage that really does well with that. There's a few others I think too, but Will is one that comes to mind because we just talked yesterday about this. Okay, digital marketing. I do it every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm Steve, the marketing guy. I'm the marketing director for Broker Nation Real Estate. For those of you that don't know me, who's this guy that's been talking for the last hour and a half? I'm a marketing guy more than I'm a real estate guy. Okay, I come from the world of marketing. I have a passion for it. Hopefully that comes through in what I do here for you guys. And I know it. I've been doing it a long time. And my wife and I have our own marketing agency. And she also can help you with these questions. And that's why. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I post new ideas or new events. And I'm looking for ideas from you guys. And I always post at brokernation.events. So make sure you please go and bookmark that web page. It's an Eventbrite page, and it's always changing. Whenever we do something new, that's the first thing I do is I go and I make an event on Eventbrite, and it shows up there at brokernation.events. That points to that page. So please bookmark that page. This is us. By the way, you don't see me on screen, but I'm this bald guy right here in the upper right-hand corner. You see me right there. The guy with no hair. And this in the pink blazer here is Armando Romero. He's our founder, president, and broker of the company. And right next to him in the blue blazer there is Daylon. Daylon is the broker for Broker Nation Doral, one of our other locations. They're doing really well over there. A lot of great stuff they're doing out of that location too. And we are growing like crazy, and we are accepting new agents. If you are interested, just hit me up in the chat or go to brokernation.net. Or I'm going to give you my contact information here in a minute. But brokernation.events. I'm not here to sell you guys anything except to come back for more events and be in, participate. I do these series all the time. I call them Ultimate Agent Series 101 through 104, where I break it out into these 4 modules. I got it kind of broken down to a science that I use for educating our agents inside of our brokerage. And we do Real Estate Friday, every Friday with Daylon, and he also does Mindset Monday. And then once every month and a half, 2 months, we do the Relevant Realtor with Armando. And I participate in that too, and Daylon, but that's mostly Armando. He's been in the business for over 30 years now, and he talks about what he's learned over those 30 years, but also what he's learned in the last 8 weeks, what he's learned in the last 3 or 4 months, what's working for him now, what's going on in the business. He's really got his ear to the ground. And he is also an active agent, so he does a ton of deals. He's an investor. He's a broker. He's a real estate expert. He's an author. And he's got some great tips and information and real world advice that you guys can use to stay relevant and keep up and beat the competition and raise your GCI. Okay. Oh, the other thing you see there too is that we do last 8 weeks. We've been on Zoom pretty much every business day for the last 9 weeks. We've been doing something on Zoom for you guys. So when we do come out of this unfortunate situation we're in now with COVID-19 and it's safe to go back out, we do encourage you to visit us or come by our offices in North Miami and in Doral. That's a picture of our 2 offices there. The Doral one is, well, you see the address there. I don't know Doral very well. The North Miami office is our headquarters, and that's on sort of on the corner there of Biscayne and 123rd Street. Okay, so that's it, brokernation.events. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now for a minute, and I actually might bring up some our Instagram feed there and take some questions. So does anyone have any questions or feedback on what you would, by the way, I'd also like to hear feedback on what you would like to hear for new events going forward when I do Tuesdays and Thursday training. Okay, I'm being told that Floyce is doing a poll right now, and you guys are going to see a poll for what you want. I'm taking requests for what we do every Tuesday and Thursday. Again, you got a marketing guy right here. I specialize in marketing for real estate agents, digital marketing, branding, social media. We do a ton with social media, Facebook advertising, organic Facebook, SEO. Any questions about that or anything that you want to see going forward, I am taking requests. Okay, so I'm going to stop my screen. You guys see me up here. That's actually not me, that's Armando. We are planning an SEO presentation in the next few weeks. If you guys are interested in that, SEO is a huge, big deal. I don't know if you guys know what that even is. SEO stands for search engine optimization, and we're going to do it with me and Kamal. Kamal is going to be our guest host. He has graciously, just wave Kamal so they know who you are, please. He is going to be, there he is, he's waving. And he's going to be our guest host. He has an SEO company, actually. He's an SEO expert, does very high-end SEO for a lot of very high-end clients, and he's going to talk about some SEO best practices and how you can get ranked on Google. SEO is basically the art and science of getting ranked on Google in that first or second or third slot on Google for free. SEO is not paid. That's the other part of search engine stuff, the Google stuff, which is getting ranked on that first page of Google. Okay, I'm looking through the chat now. I'm just about at my time. I hit my mark of trying to end this at 12:30. It's now 12:35, so I'm going to wrap this up. Unless there are any questions that you'd like me to answer in this. If you guys want to unmute yourself at this point and speak up, you can do that too. Any questions, anyone? Okay, no questions. You guys don't be shy. Most people are more comfortable giving questions in the chat, and that's fine too. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up. If you guys have any follow-up questions for me, I'm going to drop my email in the chat here. At steve@brokernation.net is my email address. And I will give you the recording to this. And I will also answer any questions that you guys have. If you want Floyce and I to take a look at your Instagram. We can give you a little quick audit. I don't want to overpromise with my time here, but I will, look at what you got and give you some quick suggestions. In fact, if anyone wants to share their screen now, before I wrap up, I will take 5 or 10 minutes to look at a couple of them if anyone has any suggestions that they want to be brave and show their Instagram now, and we can give some live feedback, especially Floyce. You really want to hear what she has to say, because she does really well with Instagram. She's been doing content for Instagram, video content for Instagram for quite a while, and she could give you some really good advice on how to do this. Okay, if not, we're going to wrap. Oh, we have a question.
Hi, it's Maria.
Hi, Maria.
How are you?
Good, good.
Thank you. I have a couple of quick questions. I'm pretty new at Instagram, and I need to understand the relationship. I know Instagram and Facebook are, owned by the same, Instagram is owned by Facebook, something like that. But when I do an ad in Facebook, it automatically goes to Instagram too. The people that sees it from Instagram, when they like it or do anything, it counts towards my Instagram, right? Towards anything that has to do with my Instagram account, even though it was sent from Facebook, right? I mean, I don't know if I'm making
it. No, I think I understand your question. And this is a good question. And Kamal and I were talking about this yesterday. Kamal's the SEO expert, reminder. And what we were talking about was the fact that paid ads aren't really related to SEO ads, organic ads. They're two different things, right? Okay. And one doesn't usually relate to the other, except for this one thing, and that is traffic. And in the case of Instagram, yes, engagements. So yes, if you put some money down and you make some paid ads that are driving traffic and therefore engagements to your Facebook or your Instagram, that does all accumulate, and eventually Google, right, Kamal, will pick that up, and that'll go into the mix as a signal for your SEO. And I think that's kind of your question, right? Like, does it quote unquote count towards my account? And Kamal, your thoughts on this from SEO?
Yes, what happens? Oh, right. Go ahead, Maria.
No, I'm sorry. I just guess I'm trying to just make sense of how things work, because when I do an ad on Facebook, a paid ad, it says automatically that it's going to send it to my Instagram, maybe because I connected it. And I know I had people from Instagram that I see sometimes that they like the ad, but it's confusing when you don't see the ad in your how do you say that, in your timeline or in your
right.
So I guess if they like the ad and they like me, that will count in the sense of they will become followers of Maria,
Sure.
So I don't know. I'm trying to connect all the dots. The same if I do an ad in Instagram, does that ad connects to Facebook? Will it go to people in Facebook?
It won't automatically connect to Facebook. I want to back up too and point out that it sounds like you're using the boost when you do an ad. Are you boosting it with the big blue button?
No, I don't boost, but I'm also doing paid ad using the ad management.
Okay, you do use the ads manager. Okay, I was just going to point out that if you use the ads manager, you got a ton of control on the placements of where that goes. So you could do a campaign just for Instagram, you could do it just for stories, you could do it for Facebook stories and Instagram stories. You got a ton of control over that, and you can control that. But as far as quote unquote, does it count? The answer is yes, it all counts. If somebody likes you on there, they'll like you, and that's part of your Facebook or Instagram. And then the other place that it counts is SEO. And I'm going to turn this over now to hear a couple of thoughts from Kamal, who's the SEO expert. And remember, that's getting this this juice. We used to call it juice, Kamal, which is link juice or something, and traffic juice, where you're getting these signals and telling Google that, hey, people like my social media, and therefore I'm more legitimate. Kamal?
Exactly. To answer to Maria real quick is when you have a like on Facebook, it helps you on Facebook only, not for SEO. I'm pretty sure that was not the question, but just to be clear on that.
Right.
For SEO, whenever you link anything from whether it is Facebook, Instagram, or any place else that ultimately goes to your website, whether it is a landing page or to the website itself, that is traffic to the website. Google does consider that your page is important and it has value when people visit it. Now, they can come in from a link, whether they searched you or if it comes from Facebook, it does not matter. As long as they end up on the page, that is a visit. That's a unique visitor right there. And if they do stay on the page for a long time, then it's even more important for them. And that is how your SEO grows. So my suggestion always is that whatever you do, whether it is paid ad, Facebook or Instagram or anything else, YouTube, try to link it back to the website, because the more visitors that come onto the website, the more Google is going to give importance to that page, or you will have what they call authority online. So with that, your page will become more important. It has a lot more authority. The more they stay on the page, the better it is. So, we will talk about this in detail in the future, but that's how it works.
Yeah, this might be a good one to do a follow-up. If you guys, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on what you still want to learn, what you'd still like to hear more about, go deeper on. If this wasn't quite explaining everything and making it clear. But the short answer, I think, Maria, if I understand your question, is that the likes and comments, yes, they count for your Facebook account and your Instagram account. The traffic is going to help with your SEO, okay, if you're driving traffic. And remember, when you pay for ads on these social media platforms like Instagram, you're really not paying to drive traffic or to get, you're not paying to get likes or comments. You're paying to drive them to a landing page. You're capturing them on Instagram, or you're capturing them on Facebook, but then you're trying to get them off of Instagram or Facebook and onto a landing page. That's usually the way that you want to do your advertising. That's the kind of default way. It's not the only way, but that most of the time, that's what you're trying to do, is drive traffic to that landing page. And the lesson to be learned here, and Kamal really will drive this home. He made me realize too when we talked yesterday that landing page, you never want to take that down. You want to, when you make that landing page, keep that up forever. And all the traffic that's being driven to that page accumulates over time and just raises the authority of your website over time, and it makes it rank better on Google. In other words, you'll be higher up on the list in Google and closer to that coveted first position on Google for a search term. So did that answer your question, Maria?
Yes, it's perfect. I wasn't actually connecting the dots, but yes, I am actually doing those ads and they connect to my landing page. So that's perfect, because now I understand how everything is distributed. But can I ask you one more question?
Of
if
course.
I do an ad in Facebook, let's say that I wanted to do an ad that at the same time, maybe after I did it in ads manager, I think, oh, it would have been a great post. Can I post it somehow that in a way that shows all the likes it has already and all that? Or I have to do a new post that starts from scratch?
If you want to do an ad that you want the world to see, what I usually teach people to do, the easy way, the default way that I teach most realtors, so it doesn't get too confusing, is to do the post first on Instagram or Facebook, and then we'll take and put money behind that post and do so kind of do it, that way backwards. The other way is to build the ad right in the ads manager. You can do that. And you can choose to make that public or make it dark. They call it a dark ad.
So there's a way that I can go in there and say make it public, so it will show in my regular posts.
You can make a dark ad, meaning that it won't show up on your timeline, correct? Yeah.
The timeline. Okay, but
Yeah.
so if I go back, it should show if I change it.
Yeah, if you go back, it should show on your, it'll show on your business page, not on your timeline, but on your business page, yeah. Which is another reason why you want that Instagram business account too, because that's the only way that you can run ads. I forgot to mention that, but you just made me realize you can't run ads on a personal account. You have to have a business account for both Facebook and Instagram. Did that answer
Yes,
your
Steve.
question?
Hello, Steve.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm so sorry, Maria. I think you're finished, right? You're finished, right?
Yes. Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Sorry, Steve. I thank you so much for the class. And I have like two questions. What do you do to find a specific client on IG?
Okay, the answer is the question is, what do you do to find a specific client on Instagram?
Yes.
Like, how do you dig out that audience?
Yes.
By the way, what's your name? It says iPad on here. I'm just curious what your name is.
I'm sorry. My name is Caleb. Caleb Serafin.
Caleb. Hi, Caleb. It's great to meet you
Yeah.
on here. Thank you for the question.
Okay.
So this is one of my favorite questions because it gets back to the thing that I always talk about, which is audience, starting with your audience first and
Mhm.
working your way backwards. So the question was, again, how do you get a specific audience on
A specific audience to find a specific client. Like I'm doing like new construction, and to put myself in front of people they are looking to buy new construction.
Okay, great. So first thing is this, are we talking about organic or paid or both?
Both.
Both. Okay. So in paid, it's pretty straightforward. You just you can pick by interests or by geo-targeting in the back end of your ads manager. Okay. But the real answer is I don't have any like short answer for you other than you need to kind of work on that over time. If you have new construction, for example, we figured out that New Yorkers love new construction in the last 10 weeks because it just feels like they're getting out of New York with everything that was on lockdown, and new construction feels like, I don't know if this is even true, but they feel like there's not going to be any COVID-19. It's clean, it's quote unquote clean, it's fresh, it's new, it's got that new paint smell. And we've got some great response from that. So it's really just instinct, going by gut feelings, creating a theory and then testing it like a scientific method, type of thing. That's what scientists do. Like, I have a theory. I think, the world is flat. I'm going to go out and either prove that or disprove it, and that's the way marketers have, also think. We start with a theorem, a theory, and then go out to prove or disprove it through testing.
Okay.
But I hope that answers your question. I don't have any, shorthand way or like a tool or anything like that. I can give you some tools to point you to some tools that would, and there's a ton of free tools out there that you can do research on.
Okay.
Like BuzzSumo is a good one. And yeah, Google BuzzSumo, and SEMrush is another one. The Google Ad Planner, Google Keyword Planner is free. It comes with your Gmail. You could use that to see what people are typing into Google. So if you want to email me, I will email you back, or any of you guys, I'll email you back a list of those free tools, research tools that you can use. That might be very helpful to you guys, actually. I rattled off a few there, but email me, you guys, for the full list, and I'll give you the full list of free and or nearly free research tools that you can use to find on an audience and use to test it. Okay.
Great. My last question, and when you start on Instagram for business, there's so many marketers, they wanting you to offer you, like they can sell you like followers. So when you take a look of those marketers, they have less people than you have.
Right.
So,
Right.
what do you recommend? It's good to go from them. It's because they're working hard to find other people followers, and they can fight. They cannot fight for them, or
Well,
what do you comment?
Well, my comment is that I'm not a big fan of canned content. I'm not a big fan of shortcuts or cheats or hacks that some Instagram people use or marketing people use to build up an audience real quick. They'll use robots. They'll use hacking an audience from somewhere else and bringing them over here without them knowing it, things like that. So
Okay.
what I'm really a big fan of, and it's worked for me for the last 15 years, and I'm telling you it works, all of you guys, this is why I keep preaching it over and over and over and over, is ACD. It works for everything that you do with marketing. Audience first. Start with your audience. And if you create great content that is relevant and that your audience cares about and is meaningful and it has some kind of value to them, then they will come. They will come. I can guarantee it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is really the Gary Vaynerchuk says the same thing. I loved when he became so popular because I've been saying this now for my bosses and clients for the last 15 years, beating this drum about content. And that's what he is a big proponent of. If anybody on here pipe up or chime in if you're a follower of Gary Vaynerchuk, and he talks about make content every day. You got to be making 10 pieces of content, 20 pieces of content, 30 pieces of content a day. I would love him to talk more about the audience that you make that content for, though, because he means that, but he doesn't always say that or drive that home. But that's really what he means. Start with your audience, you guys, and work your way backwards. If you have in your mind who this audience is and you keep refining it every day and you think about it the last thing before you go to bed, the first thing when you wake up in the morning, and you think about it when you're having your coffee and your lunch, and you keep refining that content and trying to get into their head, you will find yourself making content for them. And that is organically the best way to build an audience. That is always the best way to build an audience. So I hope that answers your question. It's not a shortcut or a hack or anything or an easy peasy way, but it does work.
That's good. Thank you so much. I would love you to take a look on my Instagram. I will send you my link whenever we finish the conversation. I send you an email, and
Okay.
I would love you to check my Instagram to see whatever you can say me, good or bad. I'm open to know what's going on my Instagram, and if I have to take some action, I'm willing to do that. Just please do visit my Instagram when I'm sending you the link, please.
Okay, I will do that for you. And I'll tell you what, I'll do that for anybody that is still on here. How many people we got left? The 23 people that are stuck with us through this 2 hours. As a thank you to you guys, I will do a quick look at or audit or comment on anyone that emails me and asks me to look at their Instagram post. I'll do what this gentleman, I forgot your name already, just ask. It says iPad on your thing there.
I'm putting mine in now.
I will do a review and we'll take a look at, Floyce and I will take a look at and give you some feedback on some suggestions.
I just sent him.
Perfect. On how you can, what it looks like to us and how you could do better. And we're going to try to really provide value to not just beat it up, but really how you can make it better and do what we all want, which is more business in the end. Get to the closing table more often, get higher GCI. So anybody that is interested in that, email me, steve@brokernation.net. And as a thank you for sticking around, I'll do that for the crowd that is left here. Anybody else have any questions before we close it out here? Kamal is posting something about be careful what you post. Let's see. What did this guy post, Kamal, that got him in trouble? Or male or female? I don't know if it's a male or female. Something
he
political.
posted a New York Police Department burning van and said that, if you want to move to Florida to get away from trouble, and that got him into trouble, and he got fired actually. So
Oh,
sometimes
really?
we want to be funny with some of those or creative, but there's a line that we cannot cross as real estate agents. So that's what I'm trying to say here.
Yep, good point. And there's one
Yeah.
more point I wanted to bring up too. I'll make a plug here for something that is going around in our brokerage and that you guys might see too. And that's a little bit different thing, but make sure that your websites are accessible, ADA accessible, the American Disabilities Act. As you guys know, there's a whole cottage industry of attorneys that go around to businesses and make sure they got the ramps, you know, for wheelchair access and things like that. And if they don't, they send you a cease and desist letter, or they sue you, and that's how they make their money. Well, they're doing that now during the last lockdown and the quarantine. They're doing that digitally, and the way they do that is to check to make sure your website is accessible. And there's a whole there's a tool, there's a whole thing that you can do to make your website accessible for people that are hearing impaired, visually impaired, you know, things like that. That's part of that ADA, the American Disabilities Act. So I've heard that that is going on right now in South Florida, and they're going around and looking for realtors' websites and making sure that they're accessible. And if they're not, then they're going after them. So that's a little tip there here that we've heard and that I'm happy to share with, again, as a thank you to the crowd that stuck with us through this 2 hours here. Anybody else have anything that they want to say before we drop off here? Yes, another question?
There was a request earlier. Somebody wanted them to post their Instagram link so that everyone can follow each other. So I told them to hold off until we answer all the questions so that they don't get lost in the feed. So maybe now is the best time for them to drop their Instagram handle.
Are you muted? Did they hear you or no?
Sorry about that. Somebody requested earlier, I don't remember the name, but they wanted to request to add their Instagram handles here so that you guys can follow each other. So this is the best time. I kind of told her to wait for a minute because I wanted to at least address each one of your questions. So if you want to be followed and you want others to follow you, feel free right now to drop your Instagram handle, and we'll be able to follow each other back. Thank you.
Okay, that's a great tip, and a request is to, let's all follow each other. We can see what each other is doing, create this community of real estate agents, and also help each other by, you know, lifting the followers or something like that. So how do you want to do that then? You want us to share it with everybody else or share it in the chat?
Just drop it in the chat and they'll be able to see.
Just drop it in the chat, she's saying. So everybody drop it in the chat. And at the end, if you drop it in the chat, and you guys request the list, I'll email that out to you. Send me those requests, steve@brokernation.net, and I'll send you, you know, the recording. I'm offering the recording to this, the audit where we'll take a look at your Instagram and give you some feedback. And then thirdly, the list of, the final list of everybody's Instagram handles that we can all follow each other and check each other out and support each other, right? Okay, with that, we're going to wrap this up. Unless anybody has any other questions, speak now, or else we're going to drop off here. It's coming up on 2 hours. 2 hours, it's a long time. I appreciate you guys taking the time and spending it together here with us. I hope you got some good value. As always, we do this every Tuesday and Thursday, and you can see what we're doing next at brokernation.events, www.brokernation.events. So it's instead of .com, it's .events at the end there. Instead of the .com, it's .events. So be sure to go there. I haven't even figured out what I'm doing on Tuesday yet. I'm going to take a look at the poll, see what everybody wants. I always have lots of requests for Facebook. We might do a second version, a deeper dive on Instagram, paid version, or just go deeper on the Instagram. I get a lot of good requests for that. And there's still more to cover for that and go even deeper. So Facebook and Instagram are always popular, and I always get questions about Google, doing Google ads, lead generation. Everybody wants leads, how to generate your own leads, and video. If you guys are interested in video, I'm going to be doing a YouTube coming up soon. And oh, I know what I have on Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. We have a special guest doing video marketing to your database with a special guest. So check that out, brokernation.events. Okay. Anyone else have anything to say? We're going to end the meeting right here at 1:01. So that's exactly 2 hours. Thank you, guys. Floyce, anything? No, she's saying no. Thank you, guys. Everybody, please wave. I'm sorry that I don't have a camera on this computer in my home office, but usually I like to wave to you guys, and you can see my mug. I apologize for that this time, but thank you guys for all joining us.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
guys.
much. Wonderful.
Thanks. Bye, guys. See you
Bye.
Tuesday. Sign up for Tuesday.